And when do you know you're still on the path, or you have just trailed off a little, or got lost entirely? Because your spiritual development will undergo constantly changes. Apparently, the modern word for this is progress. Make sure that it is progress. Many times the change comes in disguise. And we don't recognize it, and we act on this appearance without really understanding what it is. There was a time your mother was pregnant with you, and then you had to leave that very cozy place where everything was taken care of, and suddenly you found yourself in a huge, big world, not understood at all. The spiritual baby undergoes something very similar. It lives in the cozy surroundings of father, mother, brothers, children, husband, wife, their own children, and a career or business or whatever. It's all in a neat package, and it's quite secure, as much as one can see. And why should anybody leave this? It would be crazy, wouldn't it? But even progress on the spiritual path would demand a separation from what has been. When you begin your spiritual path, you collect pictures, images, you read articles, you read entertaining books, because you want to be nourished, you want to be inspired. So you're gathering in your grains. Make sure that you have the right kind and that those fruits are healthy. That is very important, otherwise you get lost in all sorts of illusions that will only make the path more difficult. Then comes a time where you realize that you have grown somewhat from the baby that was carried by the inspirations from the outside sources or by the teacher, has now to stand on its own 2 feet and try to walk, and find it very shaky. Some try a little bit too early, and some are so afraid that they never want to make the attempt. So then when you have outgrown the pictures and the images, keep them, but put them always in the light, so that eventually you will remind yourself just about that this is the source of all light, and that is for your own needs and the need of your own mind, at least sometime, and that goes forward and back, it oscillates. Sometimes you don't need anything, and sometimes the mind can focus for longer periods of time, and so you go back to a particular image. Greed is something that should be trimmed very early. It's like fruit trees. The fruits will later on just be very wooden or sour. But if you trim them, then you will find that there are fewer fruits, but they will do. You want to find the inner goal, or what Jesus said, the kingdom of God within. How do you do that? Unless you really get in touch, not with your emotions, and then make a big drama out of it, and think that's it. No. Emotions are like screaming monkeys. You have to really get them by the neck and shut them up. Then you can hear that. The inner guru neither screams nor shouts. You have to be really on the edge of listening to hear what is said. And then your dreams. You're getting often preparations in your dreams of messages that you, from yourself, that you perhaps don't want always to see, don't want always to adhere to, but in the final turn out to be the best. And if you every few years go through this whole bundle of your dreams, you will find out that there is almost a system in it, because when you needed it most, it became available. But you have to go and look for it. So, learn from the mistakes of others. That's always the best, and rather having to make your own. And keep watch. Really keep watch, see what you're doing and where you're going. And stop yourself sometime in the middle of the day in the trucks and say, what am I doing right now? And what purpose does it serve? If there are any spiritual gains, then that's what it would be. Then by all means, go ahead. But if there are no spiritual gains, you're a loser. You don't want to lose. Little festivals like this are good to start thinking new and say, up till yesterday or day before yesterday, I still have been such and such person. Today, it's like a new birth. Just to emphasize what you're doing and that you have a reminder of your action, of the change, the new birth. When you, in your meditation, in your thinking, or in your chanting, feel a divine presence, that cannot last forever. It would render you incapable of living. You can only receive divine love through somebody else. And only when that love from somebody else is really pure, without motivation, without manipulation. So, in human relationships, very difficult, if ever existing. So we all have our duties, we all have our mission, but it's up to us. And I hope while you're here, that in these beautiful kidneys here, I think it's God's own land here, is that you find when you go alone by yourselves and nobody will talk to you, just quietly put a little note in silence that you can think, and think how you think that a day like this can be a birthday for you. Don't wait 75 years. You may never be that old. And one last sentence I like to say when people ask me these 30 years of sannyas, of ashram, would I have any regrets? I have to only see it through the eyes of the person that I was when I started. But even if I would see it through the eyes of what I am today, we always have to recognize then that, yes, that's the only way we can give. Selfless service is the only thing you have to offer. The only thing to give is selfless service, and make sure that there's lots of it in a true sense of selflessness. We always look for recognition and reward. That's not selfless service. Make it sure that it truly is. And it is, like my guru said, selfless service makes you divine. So my prayer for you is all become divine. Om.